Hello, my friends, and welcome to another episode. I'm so excited you are here. I wanted to take a minute to explain why I focus so much on mindset work. If you're new around here, if you're new to my podcast, welcome. I'm so excited you are joining me, and I can't wait to help you on this journey. But I do things a little bit differently than I think maybe other traditional career coaches or people that are maybe focused on career. What I see so often is that a lot of us focus on strategy. Like we just want to know how to do the thing. I just want you to tell me what to do. I want you to give me the steps. And I want to know, like, I don't know, how do I update my LinkedIn resume, or how do I get that job, or what job should I take and how do I figure that out? And I can understand the need for that because one, is a great skill or kind of, I guess, steps to have. But I know how scary it can be when a lot of us don't know what we want or we don't know how to get it. And you obviously don't want to reinvent the wheel. And so you want someone to help you. But one of the things that I found on my own journey when I quit my career as a lawyer, and in that time that I felt really lost and really scared about what I was going to do next, one of the things that I realized for myself, and now having helped hundreds of other people, is that the thing that is stopping you is not the strategy. It's not the steps. All of the steps are out there. Everything is Googleable. And now, chat GPTable. I don't know I can't make it into a verb, but you know what I mean? You can figure it out. It's on the internet. You want to start a business? There's tons of courses. There's tons of information. There's tons of steps on how to do it. You want to get in shape and get a six pack. You want to start an investment account or start investing for retiring. Whatever the thing is that you want to do, the steps are there. You want to update your LinkedIn resume? Great. There's ways to do that. People can tell you how to do that. And that's important. But what I have found, that thing that stops most people are their own thoughts. It's their own mindset. And I know that has sort of become a buzzword, like this term of like mindset work and, your limiting beliefs and all of that stuff. And it sounds maybe a little woo-woo. And I think it's easy to write off, but I want to kind of explain how it is truly everything that you should be working on, because the rest of it is figure it outable, as Marie Forleo likes to say. The rest of it is something that you can kind of Google, try, fail, do it again. But you can't do it if you never let yourself start, because you're racked with fear and uncertainty and afraid of what everybody's going to think and how you're going to fail and what if it doesn't work and who do you think you are and all these other thoughts. And so I want to talk a little bit about why I think that mindset is the most important thing and how I sort of learned that in my own journey. If you look at anything, I want you to think about when you went after a goal, or if you've gone after a goal previously that you didn't stick to. And I want you to think about what stopped you. Let's say it was a health goal. We all know kind of the January 1st comes around. Everybody has all their goals. It lasts for 2 weeks. And there's so many statistics that 90% of people drop it within the first 2 weeks. Why do you think it is? What is happening that so many people are not sticking with it? It's not because they don't know how to do it. It's because they're telling themselves they don't, right? For most of us, what happens is we pick something, whether it's a goal or not. Let's say we want to change something in our lives. We want to go after a new job. We want to make more money. We want to get in better shape. We want to eat healthier. We want to spend more time with our spouse. It doesn't matter what the thing is. As soon as we start implementing, and we're human about it, we're not consistent, let's say things come up, life gets in the way, as it does, our thoughts start creeping in. And it's like, I'm never going to stick to this anyways. It was never going to happen for me. I already knew I wasn't going to do this. This is too hard. I'd rather sit on the couch and watch Netflix. I don't know what I'm doing. What if I'm not doing this right? What if someone judges me? It is all those little sentences that are running in your mind that stop you from doing things. Okay? I want you to even take it a step further. Everything you've ever done before in your life started with a sentence in your brain, started with a thought that you thought that you could do it, right? What I mean by that is if you have gone after a goal, if you got a degree or you got a job, it was because there was a belief that you had that I could probably do that. where that belief came from, maybe you saw someone else model it from you. Maybe like a teacher told you. Maybe you saw someone else and you were like, I want to do that. Whatever it is, you had to have the belief of like, I think I could do that, right? Maybe I could get into that college. Maybe I could pass that exam. Maybe I could get that degree. Maybe I would like doing that work, right? It started with some thought. Because there's tons of things that you haven't done because you likely haven't had either you didn't want to or you haven't had the thought that you could, right? For so many of us, we don't go after a lot of things because we believe like, oh, I have no idea how to do that. I would have no idea how I could ever make that happen, let's say. And so we stop ourselves before we ever even start because we've already decided that's not for me. Oh, that's for other people. I don't know how to invest money. I don't have enough money to invest, so I can't invest, right? When we have that belief, then we don't look into the tactics of learning how to invest. We don't look into how to save up for retirement. If I think like, oh, I'm too lazy to ever get in shape, if that's my belief, it doesn't matter how many goals I try to set, right? I'm going to give up as soon as because I have this core belief that like I'm just not good enough to work out, or I'm not in good enough shape, or it's too hard for me, or whatever the thing is. There's tons of studies that show that when people have low confidence, and that stems from their beliefs about something, they don't take action, right? If they have low confidence in that task, like if they don't think they're good at math, they're obviously not going to go after like jobs or projects or opportunities that are heavily focused on math, right? Like we're not crazy. We kind of like figure out what works for us and what doesn't. And then we create these stories about ourselves based on what we think we can or we think we can't do, right? There's that Henry Ford quote, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. The reason that's so powerful is because it's true. Because if you've told yourself you can't do something, you're never going to try doing it. You're never going to stick to it. And so what I've seen now, having coached so many people on their careers, is it's not as though those opportunities aren't available to you or that you can't change your job or you can't find the thing that you want. It's that you've told yourself you can't. And you make kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you tell yourself it's not available to me, someone like me can't leave my job, someone like me can't start a business, then that will become your reality because you won't take the actions that you need to take in order to make that a reality. I know for me, when I quit my job as a lawyer and when I started going to meetup events, these startup events with a lot of entrepreneurs, I had to really confront, because I wanted so badly to have a business at that point because my son was, an infant, a couple months old, and I really loved the idea of kind of the time freedom and the flexibility of having my own business would give me. But I had this belief that like, I don't know how to run a business. I would never be able to run a business. And I don't know where that thought came from. It was because I've never done it before. And so I had just decided that this isn't for me. And I had to really confront that because I wanted it so badly. I wanted to be able to run a business. And I would go to these meetup events and I would meet other people who were no different than me. They weren't smarter than me. They didn't have more resources than me. They didn't have more capabilities than me. They weren't harder working than me. And I would see they would be running businesses. And I started questioning, like, why do I think this thought? Why have I told myself that I can't run a business? Right? Sure, I don't know how. I don't know the how. I don't know the strategy. But could I learn? Have I figured out tons of other things in my life up until this point? Yeah, I'm pretty smart. I'm pretty sure I could figure this out. So why am I telling myself I can't? Right? And I think that for so many of us, we don't realize how much those sentences are what stop us, how much it's those sentences that even prevent us from even figuring out the how, figuring out the strategy. Because the strategy is just such a minute part of it. It's truly like 20% of it. Because let's say, as an example, let's say you wanted to start a business. And let's say you knew how to manage your mind fully and you could kind of control your own thoughts. The rest of it is just trial and error. You could try a business, try an offer, find a niche, kind of learn, take the courses, see if it works. If it doesn't, iterate on it, find something else, kind of learn from that, take the next step, pivot, right? I'm not saying it would happen quickly, but there's no reason why you can't figure out this kind of product market fit, figure out like how to solve a problem for people and make money from it. The problem is that most of us don't let ourselves get to that point, because even if we do try it and then it doesn't go the way that we want on the first try and we're not successful right out the gate, we start thinking like, see, I knew. I don't know what I'm doing. See, I'm not good enough. I'll never make this work. And then when we have those thoughts, of course, we give up. We decide like, why would I keep putting time and energy when I know I'm not smart enough to do this, when I know I'm not good enough to do this? And so I started realizing for myself and then for my clients later that like, it doesn't matter what I want to go after. If I don't learn how to manage those thoughts, if I don't learn how to manage those fears, the fear of what everyone else is going to think, the fear of failing, the fear of not getting it right, the fear of looking foolish, the fear of success, so many fears, right? If I don't learn how to manage those thoughts, I will never let myself pursue anything. And that became really the saddest outcome for myself. Like I kept thinking when I was leaving my job, and I was in my early 30s at the time, I kept thinking, I have 30 more, 40 more years to work. And if I'm going to limit myself to the only things that I think I can't do, that I think I'm good at, that I have some mastery in, I will never let myself try something new. I will never let myself just experiment. I will never let myself fail at things. I will never let myself do things that I think are just interesting, right? Because I always have to win. I don't know. I always have to get it right in order to keep up these beliefs that like maybe I'm smart or whatnot. And I just realized very quickly that like if I don't get a handle on my own brain, if I don't get a handle on these fears and these beliefs, then I'm going to kind of keep myself stuck in this very limited life, in a very small box where like I don't allow myself out of it because my beliefs are too fragile, right? And I didn't want that. I wanted to have a really big life where I got to try things and fail and try again and experiment and do something cool and see what else I was capable of and really push myself and see like what else I could learn. And I knew the only way to do that was to be able to quiet down that critic, that like inner bully that I had that was always telling me like, we can't do that. We're not smart enough for that. We'll never figure that out. This is a waste of time. You're going to regret this. You should just be happy with what you have, right? I had to manage those thoughts in order to let myself get to the strategy. And I see this all the time in my membership in the Quitter Club. I have a lot of videos that will teach you strategy. I have a lot of videos that, will give you kind of your 5-year plan or your financial plan, the calculators, like all this stuff. Most people don't even touch that stuff because most people can't get past the thoughts. They can't even get themselves to like accept that maybe I can create a financial plan that if I can't leave this year, maybe I'll leave in 2 years or 5 years, right? That would be worth working towards. But they create this kind of all or nothing thinking that's like, it'll never happen for me. I'll never save enough to be able to leave. And if that's the thought that you have, then you've already counted yourself out before you've even started. Of course, you're not going to come up with a plan. Of course, you're not going to follow the strategy. And so this is why I focus so much on mindset. When people come to me and they want to change their careers, I don't want to say easier. I'm not trying to say it's easier. I could just give people assessments and kind of analyze those assessments. And I'm not saying that that's not useful to kind of give you a better understanding of how you tick and how you operate. Those are great. I could kind of help you put together a resume. I could look at job boards. All of those things are important. But what I've realized for most people is that they have so much underlying shame and fear and self-loathing, and they're so mean to themselves, and there's so much of this constant berating of themselves and putting themselves down that so many people are kind of paralyzed in this place where they don't even see the option of going after a dream. So like, how could they articulate what they want to do? Like there's so many people that don't even know who they are because they've only ever done what other people have told them. And that requires them to like delve into what those beliefs are and to look at what that thought process, how to change that and how to open themselves up to new experiences and new things and to let themselves try and fail and be a human and take up space and do things in different ways. And that can't happen. They can't know that until they learn how to manage their own mind. And so that is why I focus so much on mindset. That is why I think that mindset is the most important thing, because it also goes wherever you go, right? what's that quote? Anywhere you go, there you are, right? Even if you change your job. I know for me, when I left my big law job, and that was, I was getting a lot of money, I was getting paid a lot, but I thought, well, I'm not passionate about this. I left and I became a federal public defender, and I was passionate about that, but I just took the same brain with me. So the brain that was a people pleaser, that was a perfectionist, that needed everyone else's validation, that always wanted to get the A+, that never let myself rest, that got myself burned out. I took that brain to the new place and I did the same exact things, right? I still held myself to insane standards. I never said no to anybody. I didn't hold any boundaries. And lo and behold, I was miserable there too. And so honestly, until you learn how to do this stuff, you are constantly going to take this brain that is berating you. And so maybe you might find a job that's a little bit of a better fit. But if you can't learn how to manage your mind around somebody that you work with that's difficult, or around the stress of deadlines, or around, existential dread about what's going to happen in the future, all of these things that we all worry about, you're going to constantly feel the same, even if you're changing your circumstances. Even if the job changes, you're still going to bring that stress with you. You're still going to bring that anxiety with you. You're still going to bring that lack of kind of balance. And so the only way to work on it is to learn how to manage those thoughts everywhere you're at. Maybe at one job, it's going to be managing it around, a difficult coworker. And then at another job, it's going to be around the fact that the deadlines are very intense and severe, and that causes some stress. And maybe at another job, it's going to be about the fact that you work alone all day and you get bored, or whatever it might be. There's going to be thoughts that you have to manage. And when you learn how to do that, you free yourself from needing to have everyone and everything act a certain way so that you can be happy. You start learning how to manage your own thoughts around whatever is happening to kind of set yourself up for the best possible scenario. You set yourself up to be able to get that strategy that someone's going to teach you and actually implement it instead of giving up on it because you told yourself that you're not good enough. So that is why I spend a lot of time on this podcast, in my videos, in a lot of the work that I do, helping you first become aware of the thoughts that you have. Like, what are all of these thoughts that are kind of in my subconscious? What is the story that I created about myself? What are the thoughts that are holding me back from trying the thing that I want? What do I even want? And then teaching you how to change that, teaching you how to actually take those thoughts that aren't helpful, that aren't serving you, and changing them to ones that are going to get you to feel more dedicated and motivated and determined, and get you to go after the things that you want. So if that sounds like something that you need, then stick around, because that's a lot of the work that we do. If you want more of that, you can join me in the Quitter Club, which is my membership, where I teach you how to manage those thoughts. I teach you and I coach you every week on the thoughts that come up that are not serving you, to help you kind of switch those and find other thoughts that will, to help you get to kind of the bottom of why you have a lot of these thoughts, and to help you learn how to manage your mind so that you can go after the best life possible for you, because that's what I want for all of you. So if you are interested, you can go to lessonsfromaquitter.com/quitterclub and check that out. And in the meantime, I will be back next week with another episode.